Hello, this is Jed Disler, and you are tuned into The Piano Maven, your friendly podcast guide to piano recordings. This is the 255th anniversary of Beethoven's birth, and for the 250th anniversary year, which was the year that coincided with COVID, there were still quite a few Beethoven releases popping up all over the place. And one of the most interesting of them was a box set of 6 CDs with the pianist Cyprien Katsaris on his own Piano 21 label. It is a really fascinating collection, and it contains a lot of transcriptions, as you would expect, because Cyprien Katsaris is the world's foremost transcription maniac. He's played through and recorded more piano transcriptions than anyone else, I would say. But in this collection, he has recorded some of the Beethoven sonatas, numbers 1, 5, 10, 14, 17, 23, the Appassionata, number 24, and then the last one, Opus 111, Sonata number 32. It contains the Bagatelles, Opus 33. He has the 32 variations in C minor, the Fantasia in G minor, the Rage Over a Lost Penny, and various small pieces. But I'm going to look through the booklet right now because I don't really have a script the way I usually do. And some of the other things in this collection include ballet music with the opus number, without opus number 1 in Beethoven's transcription. Let's see what else we have here. I'm just looking at the booklet. There are some transcriptions by Louis Winkler, who lived from 1820 until 1886. Not complete pieces, but movements from certain pieces, like the Serenade in D major, Opus 25, the Adagio from the Violin Sonata, Opus 30, number 2. You have the complete Beethoven Kreutzer Sonata and a solo piano arrangement by Carl Czerny in the third movement, but with the first 2 movements being transcribed by somebody named Anonymous. Anonymous was a really good transcriber. There is the second movement, the Adagio from the Opus 18, number 6 string quartet, and a transcription by Saint-Saëns. And there's Liszt's transcription of the Minuet and Trio from the septet. Liszt did transcribe the entire septet, but we just have that movement here. Oh yeah, more Louis Winkler, the third movement rondo from the Cello Sonata, Opus 5, number 2. What else? Also, Wagner's transcription of the Beethoven Ninth Symphony. Katsaris plays the Adagio. The whole symphony in Wagner's transcription actually has been recorded in the past. It's not the most effective transcription, to be totally honest. I think the Adagio is the best movement, so that's why Katsaris includes it. But this is a really ingenious and very imaginatively programmed box set that intersperses original Beethoven piano compositions with all of these transcriptions. And as you would expect when it comes to transcription repertoire, Cyprien Katsaris just tosses off these pieces with maximum flair and minimum technical effort in absolutely stunning performances. But I also find his approach to the so-called non-hyphenated Beethoven originals very stimulating as well, and often the interpretations are very original. For instance, he plays the theme of the C minor variations in a very sober way, but then once the variations kick in, he just flies out of the starting gate, and he eventually gets back to normalcy after a handful of the variations transpire. But there's a lot of character and contrast in this performance, which I think is really, really interesting, and I love it. And also, I was listening to the Opus 14 number 2 sonata, and I was listening to the Andante's detached chords and the very subtle and very precise dynamic gradations that the pianist brings to them. And also in the Moonlight Sonata, there are all kinds of fresh voicings and points of emphasis that never, however, never pull focus from Beethoven's intentions. Also, in the Bagatelles, Opus 33, I was listening again to the second Bagatelle, and Beethoven's sforzando markings get this extra little kick, which I think is very effective. I mean, maybe it's exaggerated to some ears, but I think it really makes the point that Beethoven wants with a little added oomph, And the final piece in Opus 33, which is a presto, is really a masterclass in how to generate tension and excitement at the softest dynamic levels, almost through understatement. That was something that Miles Davis could do in his 1960s quintet, where they could play absolutely fast tempos and sound so relaxed because they could really generate tension at the softest dynamic levels. And I think it's very appropriate to link Miles Davis and Beethoven in the same sentence, because both were incredibly radical and innovative musicians. Now, in the context of all of this originality and interpretation, I probably would have expected much more drama and explosiveness in Opus 111. And this is kind of a relatively contained and respectful rendition. And I would have wanted also the finale of Opus 78. Bum, 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 bum. I would have imagined that Katsaris would have given us a harder hitting kind of interpretation. I mean, his playing is good, but it's relatively sedate in the context of everything else. But it doesn't really matter. Oh, and by the way, the Opus 77 Fantasia, which is really kind of a written-out improvisation, Katsaris really goes to town, and he really lets the very improvisatory bravura passages just rip. So I would encourage all serious piano mavens to check out Beethoven, A Chronological Odyssey with Cyprien Katsaris. It's on the Piano 21 label, and he plays a Bechstein piano, by the way, and it has a really wonderful and very varied kind of timbre from one register to the next. It's a terrific collection, and I'm very happy to have this in my collection, and I think you will too. This is Jed Disler, and you've been listening to The Piano Maven, your friendly podcast guide to piano recordings. So let's raise a glass to Beethoven. Happy 255th birthday, Ludwig.